growing up as a kid, you get taught by your parents, and whatever your parents' belief systems are, and habits and thinking, and all those things are passed on to you, whether you like it or not. And so, for the first 7 years of our lives, we are like tape recorders, right? We're just taking in everything that is said, felt, seen, everything. So that belief system now is passed on to you, and you're an adult. But that belief system might not work in today's world. The good old days of get a good education and work hard and save money so you can buy your home and pay that off ASAP. Like, that doesn't work. We're in a really, really big debt-driven world. And so saving is probably not the best option because you're actually going backwards. And so you have to invest that money. So the past generations could be more conservative, let's say. And today also, with the amount of information and how fast information gets passed on to in the world, it's too quick. So, it's a different set of thinking. Number two is, so if you can break that barrier and think, okay, well, how can I get to where I want to be? So first you need to define, where do you want to go? Because everybody's different. So if we use numbers, for example, I want to have a passive income of 150,000 a year. Okay, well, at retirement, how do I get that 150 a year? So how much do I need as a total at retirement? So let's just do simple maths. Let's say that we get an investment portfolio and it's giving us 5% return. So really, that 150, we just times it by 20. So that's $3 million as a nice asset pool that we need for your retirement. And then we just work it backwards, right? So however old you are, you're 65. 65 was the retirement age. You're now 40, so you've got 25 years. You can divide that up and kind of plan for that.
So what you spoke about was actually very, very interesting to me. You've said, okay, now put yourself in a future self. You're 67 years old, you're retiring. How much money do you want to live off? Now we're going to come back in time 40 years today and start putting steps in place to achieve that end goal. That psychology of delayed gratification, it must be huge in the property investor industry. You're basically taking today's dollars and think about all the nice things you could do with today's dollars. Go on a nice overseas holiday, buy football cards, buy a Porsche. I say buy football cards because that's my new addiction with my son, buying football cards because he likes opening the wrappers. Buying cars, travel, fancy dinners, My brother went to Six Head recently and paid $600 for a steak. So there's so many things you could do today with the cash. The idea where you're going to say, okay, I'm going to take that $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 extra a year I have spare from my wage and put that away into something I get no present benefit from for the future. Does that mindset, that psychology to you, does that come from parents? Does it come from your nature? Like, what are you thinking separates the people that will delay gratification from those that are more interested in living for today?
There's got to be a balance of both. Like, you can't have a great time now and have nothing later. But you also, I believe, you also can't just purely focus on the future and not living today. So I think there's got to be a balance. And that balance is different for everybody, depends on what you want, right? But one of the philosophy we have with our clients is, like, when we invest, I don't want it to cost you anything out of your own pocket. Like, we should be using the equity or the superannuation so that you don't need to use your own savings into it. Now, if you wish to do so because you're so focused on your retirement, then yes, absolutely do it. But the idea is that at least then you get to live the way you're living now, right? That will still continue on, but you're doing something in the background that's still going to be benefiting you, whether that's by a little bit or a lot, depending on the time and the investment. You're still going to be in a better position than you're in today. So yes, absolutely. If you want to continue on and spend the way you're spending now, great. But if you also really want to focus for your future and you want to put extra money into your superannuation as a salary sacrifice or pay down the loan faster, then obviously that's going to be better. Yeah. But yeah, that delay graph is hard because especially when we have families that are, let's say you bought your first home in your 30s, 10 years later, that house that you bought it for 700 now is worth 1.1 or 1.2 million. And then the family needs changes, right? So you got to refinance, you got to take some money out because now you need to buy a new car, or now you need to go on the holiday because for the last 10 years we've been, taking care of our kids and we didn't go anywhere. And then you're just restarting that whole process again. So, trying to delay that gratification obviously is very, very important. But I think on top of that, you just need to be doing more with the investments, because you can't take the time back. Like once we do nothing over the next 10 years, you can't get that 10 years back. And by then the asset value of anything will be way more than what it is today.
Yeah.